Hi everybody, Bill here, still here, and here I am. I'm back home. Recognise the room behind me? Of course you do. So yes, it's great to be out of hospital. It's the 22nd of February today, and I got home at 8 o'clock last night. Been in for 5 days, which is actually longer than I was in for the surgery itself. So yeah, it's been a bit of an ordeal. I went in for the pain that was from the collection, which is the infection caused by the leak in the join in the bowel. And the idea was that the antibiotics, particularly taken intravenously, were going to blitz that. And well, it hasn't really worked yet. I must admit, I'm still in pain. I'm not quite as bad as I was, but I'm getting quite a lot. And so anyway, I've come home. Might as well be at home. Might as well be at home than in hospital if you're going to be in pain, mightn't you? Because you're more comfortable. Got a whole load of painkillers and stuff, which I'll show you now. Okay, right. So I've got omeprazole once a day. There is oxycodone, that's an opiate, and that is tramadol, that's another opiate. I can have those at the same time, no, not at the same time, but I can be like spaced out in the day. Ibuprofen, obviously, and 2 types here of antibiotic to blitz this collection, hopefully, and good old paracetamol, I suppose. And yeah, when I was in the hospital, walking up and down the wards and the corridors all the time, day and night, I found the Macmillan's cancer information stall, which I'll show you now. And one of those booklets I've actually taken, very useful. This is called Managing Cancer Pain. All this stuff from Macmillan's is available to you. It's available free, fantastic sources of information to help you get through whatever your predicament might be, whether it's financial, whether it's coping with your family members you've got, it, all sorts of information. And it's worth looking at. And there's lots of help groups like forums as well, if you want to talk to others in the same position as, that you're in. So that's good stuff. I had a bit of bad news really though. It's the last visit I had on the doctor's rounds. It was an assistant of Mr. Danko, my surgeon, who laid it on a plate really for me and said, look, the situation you're in, and he said 12% is the figure. 12% of people who have the sort of operation that I have end up with the sort of complications I think that I've got. So it's a bit unlucky, isn't it? Typical. Anyway, I've got to look positively at the future. It doesn't mean that the plan was wrong, but because the leak has not healed, and the reason for that is a host of reasons, but largely because it's been blasted with radiation. The area is irradiated, so it's killed the tumour, but it's also sort of destroyed the tissues there. And the surgeons don't have much to work with. It's not good material. It's not going to knit together neatly, and the blood vessels and everything are probably not as good as they should be. So that's why this hole in the joint may not heal. It hasn't healed so far as I know. If it had healed, maybe the collection would no longer be there and then I wouldn't be in the pain. So, you know, I've got all those antibiotics to continue to try and solve this problem before I start the chemo again. Because when I go and see my oncology doctor, Dr. Harris, on the 1st of March, next Tuesday, I think I'm going to be told to start chemotherapy for 3 months, about mid-March. If the hole has not healed, the leak has not healed by that time, the chemo is going to take a big toll on my body. We all know what happens with chemo. I'm sure it's not going to be very pleasant at all. If you couple with that the pain that I've got from the collection, I'm not relishing it a lot, I have to say. And it's unlikely that during the chemo my body's going to be healing that hole. So it could be that we get through the chemo, few months down the line, when it comes to examining whether I can have a reversal of the ileostomy to make me a normal boy again, it might not be possible. So it may have all been for naught, but it doesn't matter. It was worth a try, wasn't it? If we'd never tried it, and I'd have the whole lot taken away straight away, permanent colostomy bag for life, I would probably have always looked back and go, well, maybe if we tried radiation and reducing the tumour, I might have been normal. yeah, you've got to give these things a try, haven't you? So whatever happens, it was the right course of action, and I'm grateful for the chance that I had to make it right. And I'm not blaming anybody here. It's not. I don't think it's the fault of the surgeon or the surgical team or the care I've had, because it's not. It's just that they're working with some defective material. Okay, so that done. Mentioned the chemo. That's the next stage really to get to. I've got, yeah, I've got to say, yeah, got home from hospital thinking I'd have lost a load of weight because I wasn't eating a great deal at the beginning when I was inside. But you remember Connie, she got some 40 sips for me and things like that. And Helen brought in a load of food and I've been stuffing my face since. I've only lost £1. That's good. Despite all the walking, certainly got my steps in there. So I've only lost £1. I'm quite pleased with that. So I can start trying to build up my tiny little body to try and make it a little bit more robust for the chemo that's to come. That's the next stage now for me. It was lovely to get out yesterday. It was a bit of an up and down day because what happened is I had a blood test, as you do quite often there, and they took the blood test, and my bloods have been very good throughout the whole time in the hospital stay, but yesterday the bloods results came back and my white blood cells were too high. And so there was at some point a reversal. Hold on, you're not going home. We need to keep you in for the antibiotics again for a bit longer on the intravenous strip. And it's, oh no, really? But in the end, after a bit of debate, they took another blood sample before I left, but I was allowed to come home. So I don't know what's going to happen. I mean, if it turns out that the white blood cells count is too high, I'm not really sure what that means. I mean, I've Googled it and it says that one side is that you're fighting infection, so maybe it's because my body has finally recognised there's a collection there to fight and it's actually doing something about it. I don't know what's going to happen there, but I'm home and that's the main thing. And it was lovely to get that cannula out of your hand. That's a thing that, oh gosh, you know, this cannula that's in your vein the whole time you're in hospital, so they can intravenously put things in and out of you. It gets quite sore, you know, and it's awkward, and you can't put your, things on and off. It gets in the way. How do you wash your hands properly? I know sometimes they'll put a cannula a bit higher up in your arm somewhere, but because maybe that would be easier. You think about that, washing your hands, especially today with COVID and everything. You want to wash your hands like this. You don't want to be sort of wiping your fingers and avoiding the cannula from falling out. So it's an awkward. It's lovely to get rid of that. Lovely to get out of the hospital gown into your home clothes. That's another thing. Now, not everyone wears a hospital gown in a hospital, but I do. I think, well, if you're going to mess things up, and because things get spilt and bodily fluids end up on these items, you don't want that on your home clothes, do you? You might as well use the hospital gown. And they're all right. The old days, you used to show your bottom to everybody. It's not really like that. They're better designed now. Top tip, though, when I used to try and you put the thing around your neck, and I used to try and tie it in a bow to make it all sort of neat so I could take it off. And then you tie the back flap around to your side. No, what you do is you tie it in a knot. Just tie the neck thing in a knot while it's off. And then you make a sort of, and then put it over your head. Put your arms through the holes. Put this over your head. And then you do the back flap up. Make sure the back flap is in the right position. And you're covered, you're decent, it's not a problem. And then when you take it off, you just lift it over your head like a shirt. Don't mess about with a bow, it's too difficult. So yeah, I would recommend wearing a gown when you're in hospital. They're quite warm as well. It's cotton. I'm going to miss my ward mate. So we had the two, one I won't miss, but I won't mention that one too much. But the other two were great. There was Charles. Hi Charles. Charles is a bonsai tree fanatic. I'll give a little plug to his business. It's called Bonsai Bonkers. And Charles, I think, is still there. Other chap, Peter. Peter's a lovely chap and he's a sports mad into everything. And that reminds me, I'm going to give a big shout out to the best porter that I've ever heard of. Porters don't always get a good press, do they? And they're underpaid, they do a good job transporting the patients from A to B. Peter had to go for a scan. This was yesterday, and the porter came and took him in the wheelchair, wheeled him off to the scan and brought him back. When they were having their journey there, they were chatting about football. Turns out that they're both mad on the same sort of issues like football. I don't know if it's the same club, but anyway, one of Peter's biggest heroes was Jimmy Greaves, the old Jimmy Greaves, and later on when Porter returned Peter to his hospital bed later on in the day, as the porter was going off duty, he came in and said, "Where's the chap I took earlier?" And there was he'd only bought Peter a book. It was a Jimmy Greaves book that he'd found in the hospital library or shop. He'd paid for it out of his own money, and he'd given Peter this Jimmy Greaves book and said, "Oh no, I don't want to take money." Peter was trying to give him money for it. He said, "No, it's just a gift because you're a fellow football fan." What a lovely thing to do. What a lovely thing. So well done you, sir. You are Porter of the Year, as far as we're concerned, and you deserve credit for that. I had a long chat. I mentioned Sheira. She was very nice. Sheira is a medical student, and she was one of the entourage who was with the doctor who was giving me the sort of not so good news in the morning yesterday. And she came to speak to me separately and wanted to know the history of my case. And we had a long chat, and she was eagerly writing down everything I was saying. And I don't know if it's part of her medical studies that she was doing that, but she was so kind. I got a bit emotional at one point, so I'm sorry I got a bit emotional, Sheira. It was a bit embarrassing, wasn't it? But you were so kind, and you were sort of lovely to talk to. And best of luck to you in the future. I'm sure you're going to be a fantastic doctor or surgeon or whatever it is you want to be. I've got a horrible feeling I've been calling Sheira the wrong name, and it was actually Sheira, because I'm sure you told me it was Freya with a sh, so it's Sheira. I still can't get it. What else have I got to say? I've got a few notes here as usual. I've got, of course, Connie. Hi, Connie. Hello. Connie, who I bumped into in the corridor again. Connie was showing rounds a chap called Lewis. He's another lovely guy, Lewis, who's a budding prehab. He's got a new prehab role. Not rehab, it's prehab. And Connie was showing him rounds, and we had a long chat, at least half an hour in the corridor about everything. And it was really nice to see them and have a talk. And of course, who did I bump into on his day off? Danko, my surgeon. On his day off, he's in the hospital. That man, it works his socks off. It really does. And I said, "I thought you were off today." And he said, "No, I'll come and see you in half an hour." And he did. He come and saw me by the bed, and we had a really nice chat. And I said, "Why are you here?" And he said, "I was trying to work on a PhD, but I don't think he was very confident that he'd done very well." But he explained that he hasn't got the time. He's trying to do a PhD, but he's working round the clock, all the hours God sends. And so, good luck to you, Danko. I sincerely hope you get that. I want to read your book when it comes out, even though we don't understand a word of it, because I just want to read it. You're a good guy. And congratulations on your associate role, I think you've got in Uzbekistan. Yes, well done. Well done you. I'm very pleased for you. I hope you're not going anywhere though. I haven't thought of that. You've got to stick around. I need you. You've got 5 years of me. So don't go anywhere till the end of that, will you? Anyway, good day tomorrow. Big day tomorrow is the 28th day since my surgery. And that means I no longer have to wear the surgical stockings, and I no longer have to do the Clexane injections in my stomach every evening at 6 o'clock for the blood thinning. So that's going to be a nice day. Oh yes, surgical stockings. That reminds me. Here's a top tip for you. A simple marker pen. Make your surgical stockings a little more interesting. One for the ladies particularly. Although not exclusively these days. Yeah, little black line up the back. That's what I'm talking about. So there you go, another hot tip for you. Right, that's the update. So yes, it's a bit of bad news really, and the pain, when I'm talking to you now, I don't feel pain, although I am a bit dosed up. I'm going to keep the pain under control. I'm going to stay positive. and hope that we can get this infection sorted out. And well, next step is 1st of March, Dr. Harris. See what she's got to say about my chemotherapy. So if you're interested, tune in for the next update. Bye for now.